Hi, it's Andy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the ADK Rock and Metal channel, and this is breaking down and pulling apart the part where we take a song, we go away, we listen to it, watch the video, etc., and then we rip it to pieces and dissect it into 1 minute blocks and take you through it. Today's video is a band, or the band itself is 36 Crazyfists. The song is Bloodwork off the 2004's Off a Snow-Capped Romance album. The band formed in 1994 and are classed as the American metalcore genre, which I'm just thought, what's the difference between metalcore and American metalcore? Kirk?
Metalcore actually is taken very seriously, the origins of it in the mid-90s to late 90s, and even bands like Converge and Dillinger were originally classed in with that. It really goes backwards with the infusion of pop punk and melodic death metal in the mid-2000s. And let's be honest now, metalcore is one of the safest genres on the planet, but it never used to be that. When you look at the origins, bands like Integrity, they even influenced Sepultura. Cave In, they were another band, they were formerly metalcore. You know, it really was hardcore with extreme metal. Now it's obviously quite bland, isn't it, and predictable. But yeah, these were, like you said, they formed in 1994 and they were playing this style from the beginning, and they do have integrity.
I mean, because they were richly like, this is obviously also where at that time, like a year earlier, we'd had obviously the big blow ups of the new metal scene in like 93 was when the new metal was kind of started to hemorrhage, I guess, out. And then we had by 96 is where it all really blew up for new metal. But when we talk about 36 Crazyfists, I never really thought of them as metalcore at the time. When I heard them, I would have thrown them in with the new metal crowd. There was a lot of new metal elements within 36 Crazyfists, in my opinion. But that's because I didn't know what metalcore was. I'd never heard of the term metalcore at the time. So hearing bands like, because I'd have put them in with Slipknot was classed as was classed as new metal, and I don't really think Slipknot are new metal. Really, they're not. They've got elements of it, but then they're definitely heavier than a lot of the new metal bands over there. But key thing about this song is this was also used in the Resident Evil Apocalypse film, which is probably where I first heard this song. So it was in the soundtrack for that. But anyway, but let's get into this video. So we're going to play you the first minute, and then we're going to talk about our thoughts on it. So for you at home, here is the first minute. Okay, I kick off, then I'll hand around to the other guys. So for me, this when it first sort of kicks in, this was a classic for me. That new metal crossover sound. It wasn't like when I read it was American metalcore. I'm like, well, this isn't what I think of as metalcore nowadays. Listening to modern metalcore, and you go back to this, you go, well, this isn't metalcore compared to what metalcore is now. Modern metalcore has got so many prog elements and djentin and all sorts of other stuff in it that this felt a lot more stripped back, had more of a crossover sound. Got some really interesting clean lead parts, I thought, in this first section. Big open chords. It sounds early 2000s. I mean, it sounds of its time. If this was released today, you'd be like, huh? This doesn't sound of a 2020s, 2024 period. It's not overly imaginative though, but is instantly accessible. It's really easy to get into. And it's also, it's vocally, his vocal delivery is a style that has died off. It's almost like he's putting on a fake voice to sing. It kind of sounds a bit of a piss take, like he's doing a piss take vocals, like a karaoke bar. Like I've heard of a singer, you know, like how people do when they hear Scott Stapp from Creed. I will take you higher. that's what it sounds like he's doing, a piss take vocal of someone else. And it's almost, I don't know if anyone else picked this one up. It was during that first verse, it's almost got a reggae vibe to it. That's the thing. I was like, no, mama, but promises. It's like, what the fuck's going on here? I was like, this guy is definitely borrowed with that, with the tempo, with the drum pattern, and his vocal delivery, the rhythmical style of his. There is definitely some reggae influence in there. Andy,
interesting you say about the Resident Evil soundtrack, because that's where that probably been the first time I heard it, because one of these many band names that I know of, never been drawn to them. So 36 Crazyfists doesn't really tell me what they're about. I think from the video, I must be right in saying they must have it must come from sort of the the sort of martial art films from the Far East. I mean, I think there's a sort of martial arts ninja type relevance to the word. Or
Bruce Lee film, isn't it? I think.
So again,
it's a Bruce Lee martial art film.
I don't think it's a Bruce Lee film, but it's certainly from that sort of style. Whether it's martial arts or whether it's the name of a film from that's kind of chop socky, I think they called it, didn't they? Sort of cheap Japanese martial arts films from the 70s or something. I don't know. Kurt's probably got all the details, but the video itself was like surprisingly bright and vibrant. The colorization and everything, which you don't often see in music videos. Going back to music, like I say, it's a band I've never heard before. I did like the first two riffs, sort of. There's sort of, as you said, a sort of melodic one that starts off, and then some big chunky chords that come in as well. And we also, somehow get that first chorus in the first minute as well. But yeah, decent start to a track from a band I haven't heard of. My computer's doing something strange. Carry on.
Kirk?
Yeah, rim clicks and staccato bass upstrokes. That's a great way to create tension in a song. That's where you've identified a reggae strain to it. That's exactly what they do. When I say rim clicks, it's like the best example of that is the Smashing Pumpkins Tonight Tonight. You're not hitting the snare, are you? You're hitting actually the rim of it with your stick, which we do hear quite often, mainly in ballads, ironically. But yeah, you're right. It's 2004 as soon as you hear the 6-string drop tune guitars. The irony is now a metalcore band would probably be playing an 8-string, and they'd have to tune up to get to this, low end, wouldn't they, rather than down. Brock Lindo, the vocals husky, much more strained than I remember. And we can trace this, you said it feels like he's putting on that voice.
Yeah.
We trace this right back to Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam. So many people off. Even Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots, Daniel Johns from Silverchair, all these post-grunge bands from 95 onwards. Maybe not Stone Temple Pilots because they were big in 92, even earlier, but they're all drawing from his voice. And you're right, Brock Lindo is also adopting that technique. That's not his natural voice, but I think he does a good job, to be honest. There's a subtle use of vibrato technique as well. So yeah, it's a good start to the song. You clearly know that it's going to intensify as well. So I think they've set the scene here for for the guitars to break through like the bursting of a dam at some point.
Okay, well, let's play you at home the second minute. So this is minute 1 to minute 2 for you at home. Okay, so for this one, I don't have that much to say because it's literally all you've got in this section is you've got a bit more of a gradient build up on the chorus. You've got to nothing. It kind of builds on the chorus, but it doesn't actually go anywhere with the chorus. I felt like the chorus was kind of getting somewhere, and then you're like, you don't actually take you to that pinnacle area that you normally get, like a big finale of a chorus section, but it kind of builds, but it doesn't go anywhere. You get the second verse, and by that point, you pretty much know everything what to expect in this song. There isn't really, I think at this point, between minutes 1 and minute 2, I'm like, I'm not going to get any surprises, am I? I'm not going to get anything that's going to blow my socks off or make me go, wow, this was an absolutely groundbreaking track at the time. It's a good track. I will say I really enjoyed the track. I like the vibe of the track. But it's the fact that I actually own this album. And before I put it on, I was like, no, I couldn't tell you a single thing about this track. As soon as it started playing, I went, oh yeah, I remember how it goes now. Yeah. As soon as that first that little, like, what did you say, like the little drum bit on the rims shot, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember this track. I could probably sing it to you, like what the chord progression is, or it, because it is very hooky. It does bring you right back round, but it's not. There's nothing saying to, you know, like how you go on when you hear an amazing song and you have to go up to someone and go, you've got to check this band out. You've got to check this song out because they're fucking amazing. You'll love this bit on this track. And this is never going to be one of those ones. This is one of those ones you can just kind of rock out in the car to and go, yeah, this is a good track. I can bop my head to it. Yeah, fun. Next. What's the next one to play? You just move on. Andy.
I think you mentioned the word safe earlier. It's probably, from what you described, you think it's probably a safe song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the video. I've got to mention sort of towards the end of the first minute, you get these ninjas appearing, and like I say, my interpretation of the band name is this martial arts, low budget sort of Eastern films, and you get a 4-way fight towards the end of the about minute 43. But yeah, not much more to add. As you said, there's another sort of really catchy sort of middle 8 riff which I enjoyed, but it's not memorable, is it? It's not something, as you said, you're going to say to your friends to check out, but then that's kind of invalid anyway because everyone's got their own opinion. So I don't like.
Yeah, true.
I don't like people saying, "Oh, you got to check this band. Oh, they're fucking amazing." Well, I will. I'll let you know what I think. But
Crazy. The is when someone
Crazyfists aren't going to be one of those. Yeah,
that's the worst thing is when someone goes, "It's amazing," and you go, "This is shit." All you know is you're going to say this is you're going to get a confrontation, and it causes friendship friction and stuff like that. But the thing is, we all say that the stuff that we like, something I really like, you're going to think shit. The stuff that Andy and Kirk you like, I'll be like, that's fucking bollocks. This is fucking awful.
If we do have discussions like that, we don't take offence because we all know what each other's like, and you should know what your friends are into, and you shouldn't
don't judge it.
It's Crazyfists their way if it's not their thing.
It'd be like attacking a vegan for not eating meat. Oh, fucking shit, you are. You're bollocks. You've got to eat a burger. Kurt, go on. Your thoughts.
It's frozen. Or was he just keeping really still? Kirk, he's there. Hello.
He's there. I thought he was playing a freeze game.
My laptop that was the issue there? Oh, yeah, it's saying my internet connection's unstable.
So are you, but let's keep going.
That's no good. Yeah. By the way, the name's taken from a 1977 Hong Kong martial arts film called The 36 Crazyfists.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this song, in the second minute, I do like how the drummer replaces the rim clicks with snares after the first chorus. You can hear how Brock has clearly influenced people like Spencer Sotelo of Periphery, in the way that he'll do the uplift in the chorus. But yeah, there's not really many surprises, are there, to this music? If you think about it, you've already got a saturated metal scene in 2004. You've got the rise of what we now look back on as the new wave of American heavy metal. New metal's coming to an end. Metalcore is stepping in to replace it. It's still a mainstream concern, isn't it? And this band, you just look to them. I remember at the time just thinking they'll just get lost amongst this sea of major label artists, and they might, have 1 or 2 hits. And for once, Andy, I've got to say, the name put me off at the time, and the image did, because I just thought, they're just going to be a shit pop punk band with a name like that. Turns out they weren't. There are some crunchy metal moments in this song, but yeah, it never got me at the time, and there's no way that I would look on this favorably now. It's of its time, isn't it? Unless you're nostalgic for those times, I don't see how this is going to appeal to many people who like heavy guitar music.
Do you know what it reminds me of? The bands that at the time, that I never listened to any of these bands really at the time, but I'd heard songs of. But with 36 Crazyfists, I would have put in with things like Sum 41 and Bowling for Soup and almost like like they should be on comic book covers, kind of thing. And then I'd start thinking they're all like pop punk bands. So I didn't really think of them as an American hardcore metalcore band.
Yeah, Kirk, you're absolutely right. You know, all those American. Well, the ones you mentioned, Dave, you sort of think, well, they're going to be of that ilk, don't you? You said about the vocals, you know, parody. You know, those bands, Sum 41, Bowling Stick, they don't take themselves seriously. It's all about songs about girls and relationships and, you know, having a car and that kind of stuff. But
Stacey's mum and
that was Fountains of Wayne, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They're an indie pop band. Yeah.
Let's do the last minute and a bit of the songs. This is minute 2 to minute 3, 17 for you at home. Okay, so last bit of the song. So we do get a bit of a mid breakdown in here. It's a bit of an obvious breakdown. If you knew that at some point that you weren't going to get a solo or anything like that, so you knew there was going to be some sort of breakdown in there. Chugging, it just changes the chugging dynamic into, and then of course we had that classic of going into a bit of a pause to bring it all back again, into the chorus. I actually wrote down here, I was like, if it took more than a couple of hours to put this song together, they were fucking lazy at that point, because it shouldn't have taken more. I mean, this is literally a real kind of, we've got that first bit, we've got this kind of cool drum fill, let's play that. Cool, right, let's do some big kind of chords, got the chorus, repeat it a couple of times. Got any idea for a breakdown? Let's just chug over that bit. Yeah, cool, right, got a song, let's move on. Next track. And that's how it comes up. But saying that, it is incredibly accessible. It has a really good vibe, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening to it. And sometimes those simple songs are actually can be the best, even though and this is where we go into the realms of, is it a pop song? I think it is. In my opinion, it's a pop track. Now, metalheads will go, oh, no, it's not. It's metal. And what we've said is pop songs are popular songs. That's what pop means. Pop music is popular music. Doesn't matter what genre it's from. This pop doesn't actually have its own genre. It's subcategories. But if you actually break down what pop music is, so I would have classed this as it's pop music, but by an American metalcore band. So yeah, I enjoyed it. But Andy, final thoughts on this one for the last minute.
I got me chronological notes wrong, so I've got much anything else to say because my points were for the previous minute. But yeah, absolutely agree. There's nothing wrong. I mean, I hadn't thought about your way of perhaps how the song came together, whether that's true or not. Only the band will know. But if it is, there's nothing wrong with that because, as you say, that is how you write a pop song.
It's how Queen did it.
Yeah, you don't spend days, weeks composing a track. Sometimes they do come together as well as that, and sometimes they're a band's most popular songs and biggest hits. So there's nothing wrong with that. So completely agree with your analogy of it's a pop song performed by a metal band with heavy guitars.
Kirk.
Yeah, the middle eight chooses to emphasize the power of the guitar distortion, doesn't it, rather than insert a guitar solo, which we're just not fashionable, and we have got to blame nu metal for that. Completely stripped out the guitar solo, brought in hip hop elements. That's why I wouldn't put these in with nu metal. there's no rap or hip hop influences on this. There's a bit of groove in there, but yeah, you're right. It's when we say pop, we just mean a familiar pop structure. Verse 1, verse 2, chorus, verse 3,
well, it's
verse
popular.
4, chorus,
Basically,
middle 8.
it's easily accessible.
Yeah.
And people from multiple genres could get into this. So someone who was outside of the metal genre, who was played this for the first time, who might like a little bit of light rock and stuff, would probably still enjoy this.
Yeah.
Because it's got that structure, that simplicity, and it's a good gateway. So it's one of those ones where multiple bands have gateway songs that you can get into this genre from. And they're probably what we would call their pop songs, i.e. their popular songs from their genre.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not saying that they're Britney Spears, is what we're not accusing them of being Britney Spears. Because even if you went to Britney Spears and you looked at like some of her catalog, you could go, she's called pop music because most of her songs are simple structures, but she's got dance songs in there. She's got ballads. She's got probably some funk tracks in there. So she's got different categories of genres all put under pop music. It's just that her songs were very popular.
Yeah, and this one is very predictable, isn't it? By the way, as we know, it's difficult to write a catchy song. It's probably harder to do that than it is to write a 9-minute prog metal composition, isn't it? Because if you can get people's attention, but with this, it just doesn't do anything really. I mean, do you remember previously we were looking at the band Helmet, and we identified it influenced so many bands, and so many bands have done it different to them and made it more accessible.
Yeah.
I would suspect they probably do know of Helmet if they formed in 1994 and come from a metalcore background. But they've just added a dash of glitter and pizzazz to Anthem and just made it something that's easier to package and condensed it down and taken out all those edgy elements. So, yeah, not a song I'd ever need to listen to again, I'm afraid.
Well, it's the problem with like this sort of band here and this sort of genre is it got saturated with bands like Taproot and Trapped and they all had big hits, but they were all, when you started breaking these bands down into like their multiple songs on their albums, you're like, yeah, your hits stand out, but the rest of it doesn't. There's nothing really else there for you to show your songwriting. And I agree, but it's writing a simple song is actually harder than to write a more complex song. In a lot of cases, especially for metal musicians, probably easier for pop. But the problem is because every time you write something that's simple, you go, oh, that's too simple. I need to make it harder. So you've got to almost leave it alone and go, no, I've got to just leave it. It's good.
Yeah.
Yes, it's accessible, but what if I put a third guitar part over here and we do a groove breakdown on it? And you're like, no, just leave it. Stop fucking around with it. And that's the problem. Metal musicians always want to fuck around with these riffs. And that's why it's easier to write a more complex one, because we want to keep fucking around and changing things. So there we go. Anyway, 36 Crazyfists, and the song was Bloodwork. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching today, and we'll see you in another video sometime very soon. Take care.